Women, what's the most common nice guy behavior that is actually a massive red flag? Disrespecting boundaries. I'll come pick you up. The woman says, no thank you, I don't need a ride. Oh no, I insist. Tell me your address and I'll come scoop you up. No, really, I'm good. I'd rather take my own vehicle. Oh, come on. Don't you trust me? That is pushy. Can't take no. Trying to be slick so they can get info, probably to stalk you. Next story. Anytime they insist on doing something nice for you that you've told them you do not want them to do, that is them saying they think they know better than you do what you want and will act against your objections in much worse cases. I have allergies and a cat that will eat poisonous plants and die. Stop buying me flowers. And then they keep bringing flowers anyway. Next story. Transactional relationships. Everything has a secret price tag attached. At first, it might seem like they're very fair and want to make sure things fall out equally, like, hey, he got me a birthday present, so I'll get him one. But then, they're that way with everything. And all of that chivalry they've been showing you is just a secret tab that you're running up that you'll have to pay them in sex. That's why so many of them feel like they're owed it. You know, guys, my father told me one time, love is not conditional. People should love you and it should not come at any cost, and this is very relevant. And I am super excited to narrate for this video and read this one because I really do enjoy reading things from women's perspectives, as I am not a woman, as you can probably tell. So this is the type of stuff I'll look up from time to time. So let's see if I learn anything new here. Anyway, next story. Feeling insulted when you say no thank you to something offered. Example, offering to carry something that looks heavy and then starting drama if the offer is rejected because it's not needed. Personally, I don't like to accept help if it's not really needed, but appreciate and remember the kind offer. But if I'm being able to lift my own groceries on a regular basis makes him feel rejected as a person, that is some ridiculous drama that I don't need in my life. Next story. Oh, you're so better than XYZ, you're so not like the rest. Or other times you'll be hit with, oh, are you going out? Where? With who? Oh, do I know them? Oh, what are you wearing? Why are you not responding? You're a B-word. And this is probably from somebody you're not even dating. Then there's humor based on belittling, humiliation, or vengeance upon women. There's the whole he showed her vibe, then being passive-aggressive when called out. Because you don't have a sense of humor, they say. Then get angry when you ask them to explain what's funny. Continuing, insists on being friends after being rejected, then tests the waters or your response by telling you the girls he is dating in details with winking emojis and, what can I say, your loss, as if you didn't clearly not want it in the first place, and feel disgusted and repulsed to hear all that when you don't give a F about it to begin with. Then, they absolutely lose it when you share that you have a crush when asked or that you are going on a date. Then, sometimes you'll be hit with, I was kind to you. Why do you think there is no chemistry? Why you have to be attracted to me to give me a chance? You're superficial for that. I thought you valued character, and so on and so forth. Yeah, buddy, you lack both, but I was letting you down nicely. Then, sometimes you'll hear, but I'm so nice and kind, but females these days, man. And then, the irony man. My personal favorite from just a few days ago, all women nowadays are crazy B-words. Dude, they F around. There's no respect for someone like that. Do you see how they dress? Or the ones that are nice and caring are super boring. They dress like a grandma and like to go to church and bore me to death. And they don't even have sex, they just waste your time and money. And he failed to see the irony in saying that to me. And of course, he looked like a rat who got out of sewage while judging all of women's appearances. But of course, he was a nice guy who just can't get a chance with all of these B-words. Next story. Nice guys usually come in these three common categories. The transactional, nice guy, I did this so you owe me. He does things for you that you never asked for, then treats it like a down payment on your boundaries. If you don't respond how he wants, he gets mad, guilt trips, or begs. To him, kindness is currency and you're in debt. Even if the favors aren't about sex at first, it usually escalates there. He's testing you. If he thinks kindness cancels your right to say no to anything, run. Then there's the self-pitying nice guy. I'm worthless, prove me wrong. When you hesitate about dating or sex, he doubles down on how ugly, misunderstood, or unwanted he is. This isn't insecurity. It's a manipulative play for pity. He wants you to prove you're not shallow like everyone else by rewarding him with sex, a relationship, or reassurance. I call them the sobbing predator, or Jerry because victimhood is their chosen weapon for sexual coercion. And then, the red-pilled paranoid nice guy. You're guilty until proven innocent. Unlike the pathetic nice guy, he'll place the burden on you by gradually pushing this idea that you should hate yourself and should put him on a pedestal. He's the self-proclaimed stoic high-value male. It's common for this category of nice guy to have a must-humble female mentality. He'll question and interrogate you. He'll make you feel like you need to constantly prove you're not just like all the women that cheated on him. Being around this guy kind of makes you feel like you're always walking on eggshells. He has a contagious form of anxiety that he projects onto others. It feels like you have to regularly justify your existence because there's always something bothering him. It never stops. He'll label you as the emotional one, though. Next story. Love bombing and insistently trying to get you to be their girlfriend within a short period of meeting you by over-complimenting you and trying to occupy a lot of your time by taking you on several dates a week and insisting on texting you constantly. I've gotten into relationships with people like this where they seem like they're so smitten with you so quickly. And when you're ignorant to that behavior, it seems so sweet and romantic. Those relationships are either pathetically short-lived from them losing interest in you fast, or they're too long and heavily abusive, and those people try to isolate you from everyone. Just this past summer, dodged a bullet with a guy who seemed head over heels with me after 2 dates, and would get incredibly sensitive and pissy over me not being able to text 24/7. I'm nearly 30 with a full-time job, friends, and responsibilities, by the way. So cut the guy off after a month because I'd seen that exact behavior before, and I wasn't gonna humor it. Guys like that don't often actually care about the things they're saying to you. They're just so desperate for a girlfriend, they'll do anything. Could be any girl. You're not actually that special to them. Next story. When they're impressed that you have a skill or knowledge of something that most other women don't, then proceed to put down other women in order to compliment you, air quotes around compliment. For example, if a woman knows how to do basic car maintenance, like changing a tire, they act like you're so smart for a woman. No, I'm just one of those few whose parents didn't neglect to teach me a life skill based on which genitals I was born with. Next story. All right, guys, honest question here. I don't know where to meet women, or how to, honestly. I work a regular 9 to 5, go home, gym, cook, read, then sleep, Monday through Friday. Weekends, I work on my house all day. I'm single and doing my own thing, but how do people find time for dating? I'd love to meet them, but if there was like an 8th day of the week, I think that'll make it much easier for me. Next story. When they let you know how good of a person they are by listing the good deeds they've done. If you're helping people out, keep it to yourself. Broadcasting it to anyone who will listen just shows your true intentions that you're not being a good person for the sake of helping someone, but for the sake of praise. Next story. When they first planned certain things, then last minute they tell you they can't fulfill the plan. When the first week you saw them, they would plan ahead and then tell you. All of a sudden, they disappear. Then come back and hit you up with a, "Wanna go to this thing with me today at 8 p.m. today?" No reservation whatsoever, by the way. Just thought you'd push everyone aside for them. Yeah, that's a no for me. Next story. When it's clear they're interested in you that way, but are too insecure to actually ask you out on a date or make their feelings clear. Instead, they choose to play the friend zone angle, which makes it awkward to say no to things like hanging out or grabbing lunch, and then they sit there and make puppy eyes at you the whole time. But it's equally awkward to call them out or say, "Sorry, I'm not that interested in you that way," because then they fall back on, "Oh, don't worry, I'm just here to be a friend," 3 puppy dog eye emojis. Like, ugh. Few things are less attractive than that, and often the creep vibes become worse and worse, including potential meltdowns when they find out about you or you getting into a relationship with someone else. Next story. One big one is the "he's a very good listener" tricking. There's a huge difference between just being there to pat your shoulder on the end of a phrase like he's supporting your speech, but never ask a single thing because it's not listening. They're not going to listen to you when you say no. They're not going to listen if you go into a relationship with them. Do repeat a thing you said as a question just to check. Next story. I'm not a woman, but my wife was watching Love is Blind yesterday and I caught the last episode with her. Spoiler alert, one of the guys has an absolute meltdown whenever he finds out that every other guy got laid and he didn't. I mean, he goes into the fetal position in the bed and cries because he didn't get any, repeating the phrase, "I'm too nice." Yeah, dude, I'm too nice. Okay. Alright, y'all, what is Love is Blind, and is that the same thing as Love Island? I keep hearing about it. Is Love Island a reality show? Should I watch Love Island, fellow Undersparked viewers? This has no relevance on the video. I'm just being an idiot right now, but I've never heard of it. Maybe I should watch it sometime. We'll see. Anyway, next story. So, Not taking any accountability when you have problems or conflicts. It's literally the worst type of guys in my opinion. I dealt with it for the last 5 years. He was always so nice to me and everyone, but once we started to fight, or when I started to create boundaries, he changed and literally used Darvo tactics and fought with me all of the time to the point I lost my mental health and my general health. It's also hard to break up with these type of guys because you are so confused in the end. It's utter BS. Please be careful with guys who are super nice, but once you fight, they show their true colors or are not able to communicate anything. The worst thing is, my guy waiting until we have been in a relationship/attached 6 months, and then he started to show his true colors, and I suppressed it, and I forgave him all of the time. Next story, sharing what seems like emotional vulnerability or sharing deep feelings when the intention is to gain attention or make you let your guard down or feel guilty for rejecting them. I've been tricked before at times when I thought a guy friend was reaching out for help or support. I supply kind words or advice, and then all of a sudden, they try to escalate romantically or otherwise. Then you get the guilt trip for pushing back plus the excuse of, I was having a really hard time, I wasn't in control of my words or actions. Obviously, in a healthy way, sharing is good, but it has to be in good faith. Next story, doormat behavior, love bombing, agreeing with everything I say, having no opinions of his own, crying about toxic nice guys like he's not one of them, doing/saying things in an effort to get approval/validation/a pat on the head, having no boundaries, being available at my beck and call and making sure I know it. Then there's talking about plans for our future way too soon, as if I'm a body filling a role for experiences he wants to have in the way he wants to have them, and I'm not a person he wants to build with and have moments with together. Then there's acting like/saying everything is fine. Then very obviously seething with anger or giving me a very obviously forced fake overly enthusiastic smile. There's being in a rush to get into a relationship, things feeling domestic way too quickly. There's acting like he's listening to, understanding what I'm expressing about how I'm feeling/what I want/what I need. Then his behavior is disregarding it or trying to just have a conversation about it, in which he subtly tries to talk me out of it to agree with him, using phrases like, your feelings are valid, I hear what you're saying, that makes sense, and yet still politely and respectfully disagreeing and trying to coerce. But let me tell you, my boundaries, how I'm feeling, what I want, and what I need are not up for debate. If words don't match action/behavior, if it's feeling too tedious, if you don't feel you're being listened to, don't second guess yourself or talk yourself out of it. Just effing run. Sorry, I just described my ex. Next story. I just want to take care of you. Sure, that sounds sweet, and partners are supposed to take care of one another, but in my experience, guys that use that phrase want their girlfriends/wives at home dealing with all of the domestic stuff while remaining financially dependent on them. Actual good guys just support you in whatever it is that makes you thrive and ask for the same in return. No creepy or belittling conversations necessary. Next story. Guy wanted to spoil me by spending lots of money on me 3 months into our friendship, but I told him I didn't want that, but he insisted. He wouldn't stop insisting. I eventually told him no, and he absolutely flipped out. Felt very vindicated about that one. Next story. All of these responses really highlight the need for men and women to find happiness in their own lives before seeking it out in others. All of these nice behaviors seem to stem out of a paranoia of losing what these dudes perceive to be their ticket to fulfillment and relinquishing any sort of a void in their lives. No, both people, men and women, need to be secure in themselves before seeking out a relationship. Next story. I'm a nice guy. Well, you don't get to say that about yourself convincingly. There are some things that the world gets to decide about you based on your actions. Also, all of the actually nice people I know are constantly questioning whether they are interacting with the world in a useful and kind way, and would never describe themselves as nice. Next story. Them trying to buy you stuff and getting mad if you don't accept. I was playing Black Desert, the video game, and met a really helpful guy who was very keen to show me the game. We hung out every time I was online. He was online all the time, and he was basically my go-to guy to learn everything about the game. Then suddenly, he wanted to get me a Steam gift card for Valentine's Day, and I thanked him and said no. Basically, I don't know you well enough, and we aren't like that, and to be honest, I'd feel like a bit of a user and uncomfortable, so please don't do it. But he did it anyway, and when I refused to accept it, as kindly as I could and apologetically, he basically went on a tirade that, okay, then he's just going to throw it away and it's my fault. Basically guilt-tripping me for not accepting his kind gift and essentially making him lose money by not being a true friend. $30? But anyway, his argument was that by rejecting it, I was the one declaring that the friendship wasn't truly platonic, because otherwise I would have accepted it as a friendly, no-strings-attached gesture, which is when I understood. This guy isn't my friend. I understood that a lot of our conversations had been about me owing him, his time, his help, and now with this, it would have been money. I had essentially become a girlfriend in the game that he used to brag to his followers on stream about. And I guess I can think of a few other reasons why he wanted me to feel obligated to him. The conversations had been steering more towards not safe for work stuff, which had made me uncomfortable, but I just chalked it down as boys with too much online time looking at pretty pixels. But maybe that's me. I'm pretty sure he still legit feels that I cost him $30 though. Never spoke to him again, however. Then I have a worse story, kinda the same, but involves SA that happened before this. I don't want to tell that one yet, but it meant I got major deja vu with this, and that's why I ended up refusing his offer. He got really, really pushy and really mad and guilt-tripped me to accept his gift. So, as somebody who plays online games, I have heard of or witnessed this behavior where woman exists, logs on, says, hey, what's up? And then guys will be like, can I buy you stuff? And all of them have their different reasons. Sometimes they're just simps. Other times they're like the people described in OP's story here. Other times they're groomers, unfortunately. Online gaming can be dark, weird, and wild. Especially unsupervised gaming for the younger kids. But anyway, next story. So, there's attempting to guilt you when you don't spend enough time with them, and you prioritize literally anything or anyone else in your life over them. You aren't owed my time. Likewise, dudes who always bring up getting the short end of the stick. They're self-victimizing and think the world owes them something. Society lied to you, bro. Same as the rest of us. Next story. One that often gets overlooked is when the guy makes grand gestures in front of your friends or family. Example would be getting up at a meal to make a toast about how wonderful you are at the table with all of your friends. And this doesn't seem like a red flag, but the reality is, this is performative. This is often how they get the friends telling you how lucky you are to have them as a boyfriend. However, normal people don't do that. This is something that is done in movies. That is where they get the idea. Green flags is when they tell you how much they love you to just you. Next story. If he comes out like he's trying to be really open and honest about something in his past in a way that controls the narrative, I'm very cautious. For example, there was a misunderstanding with an ex and she framed it as assault. I really tried to understand why, but there's reason A, B, and C for her to have motive to make it up. Just trying to be honest with you so you know the truth and you're not surprised by anyone else telling you about it. Well, I have found that people who do that tend to have trails of false accusations and misunderstandings that follow them. They try to give you a little bit of their story in their own framing so that you don't believe the truth when others tell you. Next story. I don't think this applies to just men, but I briefly dated one guy who would complain about how poorly all of his exes, and people in general, treated him, or how those relationships would always end up in flames. Then talked about me like an exception and said he was happy he finally got to date a gamer girl. I hate that word so much. And eventually found out that he loves to victimize himself and project his baggage onto me, while also talking himself up to be such a nice person and a feminist. Next story. I'm sure this has been said already, but when a man says, I'm a nice guy, I'm a good guy, I'll treat you right, I'll never hurt you, etc., I've known many nice guys. And I don't mean nice guys with a trademark, I mean actual nice, good people. And not a single one has ever said they're a nice guy, because it was never in question. People that are truly kind don't say it, they show it. Next story. When they want to be a gentleman, so they police and manage your actions too. I dated one guy who was a gentleman, so would get mad if I forgot to wait for him to open a door. Car doors too. Would get mad if I didn't walk on the inside of the sidewalk, etc. Those being some of the smaller things, but effing ridiculous. Yeah, don't miss that part of my being young and dumb. It is not the actions of a gentleman to blow up at someone because they opened a door for themselves. Next story. Constant daily compliments when you're just trying to have a conversation. Getting a compliment sometimes is nice, but coming up to me daily going, your hair looks so nice today, is crazy work. Especially because a lot of women don't wash their hair every day. And we know when you're lying. I was asking you about a show we both like. Bro, chill. Next story. From a guy's side of things, I have two friends growing up who were nice guys. They tried to befriend more attractive guys to bait and switch girls. as in when attractive guy is flirting with girl and is about to approach, they run ahead and shoot their shot and badmouth the attractive guy. They hit on more attractive guy's girlfriend, and if they break up, they're right there to comfort her and smack talk the attractive guy. They are the bottom of the barrel when it comes to dating. Next story. Men who challenge your alcohol preferences. This wasn't even a date, but a hangout with a guy who was the godfather of my friend's baby. I was running late and he asked what I wanted since he was in a long line. I explicitly told him what beer I wanted from the bar. When I showed up, he had a beer only for himself and a fruity cocktail waiting for me because he figured I would like it. But a few years earlier, the same friend who had a baby was supposed to find a guy to buy her a drink as a part of her bachelorette scavenger hunt. The guy she found asked her what she wanted and she said a whiskey. Neat. It was literally the only thing she drank. But he insisted she wanted a cocktail or something. When she didn't budge, he finally got her the drink she had already used her full voice and words to say that she wanted. Men who gender drinks in general are just the effing worst. I also worked in a brewery for a few years, and there was also at least one man a week who said he couldn't drink a woman's drink, and it would always be the most random choice attributed as the woman's drink. Next story. Degrading themselves or other people as though it's a compliment to you. Also just talking constantly to you, even when you make it clear you are not interested in conversation or sharing anything. Forcibly trying to sit next to or be close to you. And even once you've moved, they just go to where you are. Take a hint. And a straightforward no. No one owes you a conversation, their time, or their presence. Next story. Being nice is his only personality trait. He says pick me self-flagellating things like, on behalf of all men, I sincerely apologize for X, Y, and Z. I'm ashamed of my gender. Women are superior to men, etc., etc. Treats his girlfriend like a goddess who deserves to be pampered day and night. Hypes her up while putting himself down. Such as saying things along the lines of, you're so much smarter than me. I'm nowhere near as good as XYZ as you are, etc. Earnestly says he doesn't deserve her. Never talks to his girlfriend as you would to your friends. His girlfriend is the only object of his affection and nothing else. Never disagrees with her on anything, be it decisions, politics, or any other subject. Spends huge amounts of money on things for her. Begs to see her and talks about how much he misses her when they haven't met for a couple of days. Goes out of his way to make time for her to an obsessive and inappropriate level, such as canceling special and important events to meet up with her if the next opportunity to meet is a few days away, or preparing elaborate celebrations or costly events for her on a frequent basis for no purpose. Has no hobbies or interests outside of her, never wants to spend time away from her, and drops everything to be with her. And just self-deprecating, meek, servile, obsessive, and worshipping behavior in general. Next story. I have always personally found golden retriever men just as bad. Sometimes they are nice to manage image and have no one call them out on their crap. You can't quite put your finger on it when you're dating one. Sometimes they hold in resentment and it comes out in passive ways. Sometimes that cluelessness is all an act and they know exactly what they're doing and they aren't that helpless or innocent. Next story. Refusing to let you pay for yourself. I never let a guy pay for me unless we've been dating for a while. I don't want them to feel like I owe them anything, and I don't want to feel indebted either. So guys that aggressively insist are instant nopes to me. They don't respect me enough to accept my decisions and don't have enough empathy to ask for my reasons. That's not somebody that I want to be with. So first off, second to last story, I didn't think the golden retriever boys would get called out, especially because I'll go on the dating apps and the girlies would be like, I want a golden retriever boyfriend. Do I necessarily agree with what OP's saying in that one? No. Do I get where she's coming from? Yeah, I guess. I just think it means somebody who's just hyper and happy, not stupid, not a himbo. Or a manipulative himbo. However, I enjoyed narrating this video. As I mentioned earlier, I just like to hear things from the opposite perspective, and my personal philosophy towards this is half of the human population is the opposite gender of you. Wouldn't you want to better understand how they operate? Whether that be some of the things that they like or some of the things that get under their skin or just appreciating a different perspective? I think there's benefit of that in professional relationships, friendships, dating relationships. I certainly don't know everything, but knowledge is power after all, as they say. But anyway, guys, we're at the end of the video. I'm sure we'll get a gender-swapped version at some point because people will ask for that, and I will happily read it. But we're at the end. Thank you all so much for watching, commenting. Have a really good one, and